A group of farmers, millers, bakers, and researchers from Maine and Vermont visited several bread wheat facilities in Quebec. Quebec has been successful at pairing local wheat growers with millers and bakers. The Maine and Vermont groups wanted to learn from them.
One of the things that the farmers had really looked forward to learning about in Quebec is more about the milling process and how to set up infrastructure to do that. Even though the mills that they're developing and designing are a little bit smaller scale, the setup would be very similar. So how grains are brought in.
Heather Darby from UVM organized the trip.
The levels of a mill from cleaning grain to sifting flour, and how that whole system flows. And that was probably one of the most helpful items to the producers that were there.
Our primary goal as bread bakers in Maine is to make a loaf of bread that reflects the character of the area. We want to make a bread that speaks to being in Maine. And it's hard to do that if you're using wheat that's being grown in Montana or North Dakota.
Ellen Mallory is heading up the local bread wheat project out of the University of Maine.
Quebec is very similar to Maine in that when you think Quebec, you don't think this is a wheat-growing region. When you think wheat in Canada, it's Saskatchewan or Alberta, Manitoba, maybe Ontario. Quebec has less than 1% of all wheat production in Canada, and yet they do have a thriving local bread wheat system, and that's what we went to see.
We identified it as like Rumex. So what do you think of that wheat as a miller?
It would clean well.
Yeah, it would clean well. Yeah. Like our mission at the mill is really to create flours, specialty flours, to respond to the market. But we also have some values, and the values are environmental values.
Especially that area of Quebec, it's been zoned for agricultural production, actually, which is very different than the United States and even other provinces. So Quebec has actually, they sort of have a land trust in a way, where a lot of land in Quebec is zoned green, and so they're not allowed to have suburbs and rural expansion, and so they can only produce food there.
The way the wheat is grown is important, but so is the taste. The group got to spend some time talking with bakers as well.
But it's what sets our product aside. It's different. It's slightly more expensive, but it's worth it because it's actually good quality ingredients that we use.
For me, what I learned from the Milanese was that our concepts of grain quality may not work for artisan baking. There is more to grain quality than protein, falling number, dawn levels. There's quality of the protein, and that really appears to affect how the flour performs in baking.
If you go to France or you go to Italy, you find these fabulous breads that are made, in a little village, and the bread has a particular characteristic based on the local ingredients that they're using in that bread. And so we're trying to do the same thing, saying, okay, we know we can grow wheat in Maine, and so let's grow the best wheat we can possibly grow, and then let's see what kind of breads we can make with that wheat.
The group also visited Skowhegan, Maine, where efforts are underway to set up a mill.
We are standing in front of the old Somerset County Jail building, which I just purchased back in the spring of 2009. And we have plans underway to convert this building to be able to use for reestablishing infrastructure for milling locally grown grains.
We learned a lot on our trip to Quebec, but I think the most important thing in sum that we learned was that it's possible. It's possible to develop a local bread wheat system in an area that's like ours. And the bread was really good.